Здравейте, драги зрители на Спорт с България. Аз съм Теодор Борисов и за пореден път се включвам от Ланксас арена в Кьолн. Този път до себе си имам удоволствието да приветствам един от хората, които имат главна роля в едно историческо събитие за българския гейминг, именно участието на Алекс Rainwaker Петров на мейджорът в Кьолн. Става въпрос за треньорът на Монте и спорт с Какафу, с когото, разбира се, интервюто ще протече на английски. Какафу, thank you very much for coming over to this interview and saying yes. Now, we are a little bit lucky because you decided to stay here in Kьoln for a little bit longer, but share your initial opinion. For you, that was the first time since joining Monte to break through and reach that type of an event, make a major. So all in all, before we go into too many details, what are the initial thoughts and how are you feeling a couple of days after you guys unfortunately got eliminated from stage 3?
Obviously the disappointment was huge when we lost the games, because both games against Falcons and Mongols were super close. But when I look at the season, I'm super happy. Like Monte, gave me the offer like 8 months ago, and we started somewhere like at 80 positions, and we grinded our way up. And with the addition of Rainwaker, of Alex, we made another step. Right, he basically comes in. We have a huge game against Navi. I mean, I remember the 1v3 against them for Mirage. He has a huge impact. From there on, we keep on, improving, having got results at the Draculans, at the smaller lands, and when we would wake up one day and you're at the major, and it was a dream come true for all of us. I mean, it's my fourth time making it with a new team to the majors, so I'm just happy that I'm with the boys there.
I was going to ask you about Alex a little bit, but since you bring him up, I think we can push that for a little bit earlier in the conversation. How has he been developing as a player? Because obviously for all the Bulgarian audience, we know that he was also always one of the best players every single time on Bulgarian teams, but things on Liquid didn't quite work out for him. So in these couple of months that you worked with him, what is the opinion that you kind of formed of him as a player, as a person? Why do you think things didn't quite work out on Liquid, and what makes him different now?
I think in Liquid he needed to work with a lot of big names, right? And I think it was his first tier 1 gig, and I think he learned also a lot from it, right? How to behave in the team. And I think he was when he came to Monte, he was a very quiet guy, a shy guy. But we basically worked a lot on how to reset mentally when something goes wrong, because everybody sees on the cameras he's a little bit sometimes tilting. But it's also his character, right? It shows that he cares. It shows that perfection is a lot, and also communication is a lot. And I was super surprised by him that he actually has very good reads in the game, right? So when he says something, it has a lot of impact, right? For example, I hear the guy stepping away, or this is I think the setup we're gonna do. Then he gives me back to his side, or let's say no, I want to lurk more. So he helps in this a lot, and I think in a smaller team like Monte, I think these type of players, they just they're shining more because they think they can do this more, right? Everybody's kind of on the same level. That means his opinion matters also the same. And it's also the teams that I coach, I like this way, right? I always say that every player needs to have a voice to be a good team. And I think that's something that he, established and evolved throughout. And I just think his fragging ability is something that makes him good, right? I don't know how many 3Ks the guy will get, but I'm happy he does it. And I think that's something that makes him very good as an anchor.
There is something very notorious about him that we say always in the Bulgarian scene. I want to hear your opinion if that's something that we've made up or it's actually true. So we describe Rainwaker as the 3 or 4 bullet killer, because he never aims for the head. He's just perfect accuracy in the body. Does that remind you a little bit of, let's say, the way that Zontix was playing, the way that Magisk was playing back in the days in Astralis? Do you see that type of style there?
Yeah, for sure, right? But to be honest, I watch them every day, right? You guys only watch them in the big games, but I mean, I watch them every day. So for me, it's a little bit blurry. So I'm not really looking at the headshots and the body shots. I'm more is your handling good? Is your communication good? Can you hold the bomb sites? And I think this is something that I look more into. But he's a multi-killer. But if he shoots more in the body than in the heads, I cannot say.
Yeah, the important thing is he gets the job done, right?
Yeah.
And I want to, before we get into who do you think is going to win the entire thing, obviously, as you pointed out, you've been on multiple teams over the years, and you've coached some pretty big names as well. You've been on, well, excuse the pun, but you've been on big. And this team, Monte, is a little bit unique because you get a lot of as the people call them, rejects on the same team. A lot of people that have had opportunities before, but they've not gone well. Gizmi's the only exception, but everybody else kind of falls into that category. So what makes it different working with these younger guys, but they're not the young and up-and-coming teenagers that have never had experience? They've had it, but it hasn't gone well. So is it a little bit more challenging? What are the ups and downs of all of that?
I actually have to say probably this is my least challenging team in that case. So I think one thing that is super important when I came in I saw is that because they were in these teams like Afro and Fnatic, Wimmers in FaZe and in Mouse, right? They already have a very clear idea of the hierarchy, right? They had coaches, they had IGLs where they understood, okay, this is my role, I need to fulfill that role, and I should not, step over the boundaries. Because if you don't know the hierarchy of a team, it will get very, hard. Like this guy has an opinion, this guy's opinion, then I have to step in, then I have to, then the fight starts. So I think what they learned from the previous teams coming in this team is more that they know what they need to bring to the team to succeed. And that's something that I was, enjoying a lot, because a lot of teams, also when I was assistant coach in OG, there were some characters that have like a lot of ego and it has to go their way, right? And having ego is good as a CS player, but it's not good in a team environment. So I think with this Monte team is that this was something that I really enjoyed, right? I didn't have to focus too much on the, player development in like okay, who has the biggest voice, do we all listen to the IGL, is maybe this guy and this guy. So that was like really nice to see, and that made my work really easy, because then I can come in and say, okay, we can think of the threats, we can think about the handlings, then I'm like happy. So I think this is like overlooked a lot in this team, and I think this was also a reason why we went up the ranks.
All right, and lastly, I mean, we're here for the playoffs. Sadly, Monte didn't make it through, but you did put up a pretty respectful showing, and you did bring the fight over to Falcons, to the Mongols, and a couple other teams. Falcons are in the playoffs here, but so are Vitality. We're recording this right before they go over on the stage and play against each other, maybe an hour before that. So who do you think is taking the trophy home?
I think Vitality is like still super, super good. I think the other teams are like a little bit below. So I think if Vitality, something like not crazy happens, I think they will win. But I think the storyline is cool from Kerrigan. I really like Kerrigan. He's like very old school. And I think he can maybe, win a map or maybe even go over the line. But since also Robs played with Kerrigan, I think it could be a little bit harder, but it will be a banger of a match.
Well, thank you very much. It was an absolute pleasure talking to you, and I hope to see a lot out of you and Alex on the same team in the future. Драги зрители, това беше Какафу, треньорът на Монте, а вие продължавайте да гледате както мачовете на Rainwaker в бъдеще, така и към днешна дата мачовете от плейофите на Кьолн Major 2026 на twitch.tv/eSports България. Ще се видим отново много скоро.